What's up, everyone? It's the Wall Street Custodian coming back to talk about my number one favorite company, my number one long-term hold, and my number one penny stock. They just signed the letter of intent for a new company, and I think it's worthy to talk about, and it's important to talk about. And I'm going to give you my opinions on what this company has to do going forward for us to remain invested. Well, I'm not going anywhere, but what we need to see from this company. Remember, this company is an infant, guys. The company we're talking about is iLUS, and it's an absolute baby. It's barely over a year old. They've acquired like 7 companies already, just in 21. Actually, more than that, but just in 2021, they acquired 7 companies, and they're making huge progress, but we do have to see these things gel. I do understand that. I am willing to give them time to do that, though. And that's the question. Are you? Do you have the patience to let this thing grow? I'm fully aware that not everybody has the same time horizons. So as an iLUS investor, you have to really understand and come to grips with, do you think that you can give this a month, a year, or 10 years to reach the goals that they want to get to? I'm fully prepared to let them reach as long as it takes to really grow this thing into a monster. And I think what I see them acquiring, where they're getting, I'm really excited what they're doing. Now, over the next 2 years, I do want to see these things start to gel together, and I want to start to see the earnings reports, and I want to start to see things start to make sense and start to work and see the revenues come up. So I'm giving them time for that too. But this is exciting, and they just acquired a company here in Florida, and we're going to talk about it right now. But just remember, none of this is financial advice. Do your own due diligence, do your own research, and remember that everything in the stock market is risky, especially in the OTC. That being said, let's get into this, all right? So iLUS just said that they signed a letter of intent for the acquisition of a profitable fire-based suppression system company. Having completed the acquisition of 7 companies since January 21, that's a lot in 1 year, guys. The company has now agreed in principle to move forward with the acquisition of an impressive fire suppression system company in the state of Florida. The company currently generates revenue around $3 million a year, services well-known customers in its area, and has recently been awarded significant new contracts. It also holds enormous growth potential and is extremely well aligned for the launch of iLUS's own fire suppression technology in the United States. And if you guys remember, not long ago, they were talking about, getting into the buildings and apartment buildings and all that, fire suppression. It's a huge business. You don't really realize how big fire suppression is. I mean, sometimes I have to sit back and just realize how big it is. The building I'm in now where I work, the restaurant where I work. Then think about how many apartment buildings across the country and world there are that need fire suppression. It's a huge business. Huge business. And when have you heard of anybody disrupting that business? I haven't. So it's good to see that they're getting into it. This is a huge market. While we've been making huge progress on the acquisition front in general, we felt it important to announce this intended acquisition primarily because it marks our significant move into the U.S. fire suppression systems market. Our ERT, remember they're going to be spinning that off, our ERT subsidiary is surging forward strongly, so we believe it's the optimal time for us to make the move into the U.S. market for our fire systems technology, which sits within our integrated systems subsidiary. So that's going to be spun off eventually as well. From what they said, the development of our own water mist fire suppression systems for kitchen fires, EV battery fires, and much more is going well. So it's important that we have the right channel, the local technical expertise, and existing customer base in the U.S. when we kick things off there. For us, there is no better way to do this with a already profitable acquisition that has big name customers on its books. It's already rapidly growing and is primed for serious expansion. Nicholas Link, the boss, said. Love this guy. Having completed, this is not a long one, guys, we're already halfway through. Having completed its first round of due diligence, followed by negotiations, iLUS has signed the letter of intent with the Florida-based company and is now moving into the final phases of due diligence for the completion of the acquisition. Following strong growth in 21, the intended acquisition started 22 very strongly as it signed significant new contracts with major brands in Florida, and with the involvement of iLUS, the company is now very well positioned for further expansion. The company currently services well-known customers such as Universal Studios, wow, and many international hotels and restaurants chains. Think about how the fire suppression systems in Universal Studios, how many there are. The intended acquisition currently assembles, installs, and maintains fixed fire suppression systems for major global brands, with iLUS planning to roll out its own water mist fire suppression technology in the U.S. through the company. Interesting. This is interesting. The intended acquisition operates from the suitable offices and warehouse facilities and owns several vehicles for installation and maintenance. However, as with recent U.S. acquisitions completed by iLUS, the company will move to a larger premises in its current area to fulfill new contracts and sustain further growth. Quote now, this is from JP. This intended acquisition should be well timed to go hand in hand with our own fire suppression system development and certification. It will also serve as our initial, so this is going to serve as the initial integrated systems base in the U.S., which is also important given the very large potential projects we are discussing there for innovative fire suppression systems. The company has existing experienced management and staff and on its own. I believe it's already poised to double its revenue year over year. However, with our expansion plans and the addition of our own disruptive technology, I believe the company can grow exponentially more, said JP. And in closing, when completed, the intended acquisition will play a key role in speeding up further fire suppression product development at iLUS' own Firebug Technologies. It is also expected to complement iLUS's Middle Eastern Fire Protection Systems BCD Fire, which currently has a sales pipeline of over $10 million in Dubai and Saudi Arabia and is expecting notable new offers in the second quarter. In addition to several acquisitions already in progress, some of which have letters of intent signed but have not been announced despite completion expected in the second quarter, iLUS plans to acquire further fire suppression businesses in the US, UK, and Europe. This company they are just doing so much it's hard to keep up with. I can't wait. I'm patient, guys. Again, I'm not betting my whole account. I'm not betting my whole weekly paychecks. And that's why I'm able to have patience with this. You don't want to extend yourself. I mean, you could and then just pray, but I'm not doing that. I'm putting what I can away into this as like as almost like a savings account. I've mentioned that before. I also think we have strong technical support on the technical side, sitting around 9 cents to 13 cents. I think it's very, very, very strong support for iLUS. I'd be shocked if it ever broke under that. You never know what could happen. You never know what could happen in the world. We're in a turbulent time in the world in general right now, but I just feel like that 9 cents to 13 cents range is such a strong support. It's a pretty safe area that I feel for myself, not financial advice, to load up on and continue to buy shares on. And selfishly, I wish it stays there for as long as possible. I know you guys want to see this thing rip, but for as long as it stays here as they're growing as possible, the longer I can acquire shares under my actual average now, because my average ticked up into the 15 to 18 cent range. When it was up at 50 cents, I keep buying no matter what the price is. So, guys, that's a video for today. I kept it under 10 minutes. This is an interesting acquisition. They continue to grow. I love this company. I am in this company, no question. This is my number one. This is my number one OTC stock, hands down. I'm really not doing much in the OTC except for this play. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you in the next one.